Commander Zethkar of the Vorthak Empire clicked his mandibles in amusement as he reviewed the intelligence report on his neural display. The holographic text floated before his compound eyes, detailing the latest species to request battlefield tourism rights in the contested Zerion sector. Humans, he chittered to his aide. Sub-Commander Vrex. They call themselves humans. Apparently, they've developed faster-than-light travel just 2 of their solar cycles ago, and now they want to send tourists to active war zones. Vrex's antennae twitched with barely contained laughter. Tourists, sir? To battlefields? Indeed. They claim it's for historical documentation and extreme adventure experiences. They're willing to pay substantial credits for the privilege. Zethkar pulled up an image of the bipedal creatures. Look at them, Vrex. No natural armor, no claws, no bioweapons. They're barely taller than a scritch hatchling, and they want to observe a war between the Vorthak Empire and the crystalline hegemony. The 2 officers shared what passed for laughter among their species, a series of rapid mandible clicks. The war between their empire and the silicon-based hegemony had raged for 3 standard years across 17 star systems. Plasma-scorched worlds, shattered moons, and debris fields marked the path of their conflict. It was no place for soft pink creatures who had barely crawled out of their gravity well. Shall I deny their request, sir? Zethkar paused, considering. The humans offered to pay in rare earth elements, materials both sides desperately needed for their war machines. No, let them come. We'll establish a safe zone on Kepler 442b, well away from the primary combat theater. When they see the reality of war, they'll flee back to their little blue world with their tails between their legs. Humans don't have tails, sir. A figure of speech, Vrex. 3 weeks later, the human vessel Wanderlust dropped out of hyperspace at the edge of the Zerion system. Zethkar watched through his flagship's sensors as the sleek craft approached. It was smaller than expected, barely the size of a Vorthak frigate, but its hull gleamed with an unusual alloy that made their targeting systems struggle to maintain lock. The human delegation that materialized on his command deck was underwhelming. 5 beings in simple fabric coverings, led by a female with graying hair who introduced herself as Dr. Sarah Chen, Director of Extreme Historical Tourism, Terra Adventures, Inc. Commander Zethkar, she said through her translation device, extending her hand in what he'd learned was a human greeting gesture. We're honored by this opportunity. My team specializes in documenting conflicts for our species' historical archives. Behind her stood 4 others, a tall male with recording equipment, 2 younger humans carrying various devices, and another female whose eyes seemed to catalog every detail of the Vorthak bridge. Dr. Chen, Zethkar replied, careful not to grip her fragile appendage too tightly. I must warn you, this is not some primitive skirmish. Our weapons can glass planets. The crystalline hegemony shows no mercy to organic life forms. Sarah smiled, an expression Zethkar had learned indicated human pleasure or confidence. Commander, my species has been documenting wars for millennia. We're quite experienced with extreme environments. The next day, Zethkar established the humans on Kepler 442b's northern continent, far from the ongoing battle for the planet's southern hemisphere. Long-range sensors would allow them to observe and record the conflict safely, while Vorthak and hegemony forces clashed over the world's crystalline deposits. For the first week, everything proceeded as expected. The humans set up their equipment, recorded their observations, and stayed well clear of the combat zones. Zethkar almost forgot about them until Sub-Commander Vrex burst onto the bridge, his carapace flushed with excitement. Sir, the humans, they're not just observing anymore. Zethkar's attention snapped to the tactical display. In the southern hemisphere, where his forces had been locked in brutal stalemate with hegemony crystal warriors for months, something impossible was happening. The red icons representing enemy positions were disappearing. Expand the view, Vrex. The display zoomed out, revealing the full scope of the southern battlefield. Where once scarred earth and twisted metal had marked months of carnage, now there were patterns, clean geometric shapes, organized structures, sir. Vrex's voice carried a note of disbelief. The humans appear to be cleaning the battlefield, sir. They've somehow neutralized both our forces and the hegemonies, then began systematic removal and organization of debris. They've also, sir, they appear to have established some form of mining operation in the contested deposits. Zethkar stared at the display, Show me real-time visual. The main screen flickered to life, displaying the southern hemisphere from orbit. What he saw defied explanation. The churned, poisoned wasteland that had been the primary battleground was now a series of neat, organized sectors. Massive human machines, where had those come from, moved with precision across the terrain. Twisted wreckage was being systematically collected and sorted. Environmental restoration equipment was already returning patches of ground to their original state. And in the center of it all, where the richest crystalline deposits lay buried, human machinery extracted resources with surgical precision while leaving the surrounding ecosystem intact. How many humans did we allow planetside? Zethkar demanded. 5, sir. Just the 5. And their ship? Still in orbit, sir. No additional vessels detected. Zethkar's mandibles clicked nervously. Get me a direct communication to Dr. Chen. The human's face appeared on screen moments later. Behind her, Zethkar could see the organized bustle of what appeared to be a major industrial operation. Commander, Sarah's voice carried the same cheerful tone as their first meeting. How wonderful to hear from you. We're having such a fascinating time documenting your conflict. Dr. Chen, Zethkar fought to keep his voice level. Our sensors indicate you've expanded your operations beyond simple observation. Oh yes, she nodded enthusiastically. We discovered that passive documentation really doesn't capture the full scope of a conflict. We decided to conduct a more interactive historical analysis. You neutralized both armies. Temporarily incapacitated, she corrected. Non-lethal neural disruptors. We've been studying your respective combat doctrines. Quite fascinating, really, though terribly inefficient. Inefficient? You've been fighting over these deposits for 3 years, yes? Tremendous waste of resources, both military and environmental. My team calculated that with proper coordination, both your species could extract what you need while actually improving the planetary ecosystem. Zethkar felt a chill run through his exoskeleton. Dr. Chen, what exactly is your background? Sarah's smile grew wider. Oh, I have a doctorate in xenoarchaeology, with specializations in conflict resolution and resource optimization. Before starting Terra Adventures, I spent 20 years in what we call peacekeeping operations. Peacekeeping? Yes, we find that most conflicts stem from resource scarcity and communication failures. Once you address those root causes, she gestured to something off-screen. Well, you get results like this. The display behind her shifted to show both Vorthak and Hegemony soldiers working side by side in organized teams, their weapons replaced with construction equipment. How? Zethkar whispered. Oh, it's quite simple, really. We showed them the efficiency calculations. When you factor in the environmental restoration costs, the projected resource yields, and the reduced military expenditure, cooperation became the obvious choice. We also introduced them to coffee. Remarkable how much more reasonable people become after a good cup of coffee. Sub-Commander Vrex leaned close to Zethkar's audio receptor. Sir, our forces are reporting that they're enjoying the work. The Hegemony warriors are apparently excellent at precision excavation, while our troops are natural heavy equipment operators. There's one small matter, Dr. Chen continued. The tourism fee we agreed upon, we'd like to renegotiate. Zethkar's heart sank. What are your terms? Well, given the expanded scope of our historical documentation and the resource optimization we've implemented, we believe a percentage of the extracted materials would be more appropriate. Say 40%? 40%. Oh, and we'll need to establish a permanent research station. For ongoing conflict prevention, you understand. The data we're collecting here will be invaluable for preventing similar resource wars throughout the galaxy. But you're tourists. Sarah's expression shifted subtly, and for the first time, Zethkar glimpsed something behind those soft human eyes that made his combat instincts scream warnings. Commander, she said gently, when a species develops faster than light travel in just 2 years, do you really think they got there by being just tourists? Zethkar looked at the tactical display again. Where once there had been war, now there was peace, prosperity, and productivity. His enemy had become his ally. The devastated world was healing, and resources flowed more efficiently than ever. Before, the humans had come as tourists with cameras. They had left as the new regional power brokers. And the battlefield was indeed cleaner than before. 40%, he said finally. Excellent, Dr. Chen beamed. Oh, and Commander? You might want to warn the other sectors. I believe my colleagues from Terra Adventures, diplomatic in